Master your focus, embrace your silence, watch life deliver. There comes a moment in every person's life when the noise around you becomes louder than the voice within you. Distractions start pulling at your spirit, opinions start clouding your purpose, and suddenly you begin to forget who you are and what you were called to do. Hear me clearly. When you master your focus, you take control of your destiny. Focus is not just about looking at something, it's about locking in on what matters most and refusing to be moved by what doesn't. You can't master your future if you keep entertaining every distraction sent to detour your path. You see, focus is power. It's the quiet fire that burns in those who know where they're going, even when no one claps for them. When you focus, you stop reacting and start directing. You stop chasing noise and start building vision. You stop explaining yourself to people who will never understand the language of your purpose. Silence is not weakness. Silence is wisdom in motion. It's the sacred space where God reshapes your strength, renews your mind, and refines your motives. The reason most people miss their breakthrough is because they keep talking when they should be listening. They keep posting when they should be praying. They keep reacting when they should be reflecting. When you embrace your silence, you create room for clarity. You hear things you couldn't hear before. The whispers of wisdom, the stirrings of divine direction, the quiet confirmations that your steps are being ordered. Every great transformation starts in silence. The seed grows underground before it ever reaches sunlight. The eagle sits in solitude before it soars again. The diamond is shaped in darkness before it shines. And you too are being developed in the quiet. Don't despise your silent seasons. They're shaping your destiny. So stop explaining your process to people who haven't lived your pain. Stop lowering your volume just to be understood. Master your focus. Embrace your silence. Watch life, yes, watch life deliver. Because life has a way of rewarding those who refuse to give up. It may not happen overnight. If you stay faithful, if you stay disciplined, if you stay focused, there will come a day when everything you worked for, prayed for, and waited for starts showing up, not by accident, but by alignment. When that day comes, you'll realize that silence wasn't your punishment, it was your preparation. Focus wasn't your sacrifice, it was your strategy. And everything life is delivering to you now was built in the moments nobody saw. So walk boldly into your season. Guard your focus. Protect your peace. Keep your circle small and your spirit grounded, because the quieter you become, the clearer your vision will get. And the clearer your vision gets, louder your results will speak. Focus is more than just paying attention. It is the compass of your destiny. The direction of your life always follows the direction of your focus. What you look at long enough begins to lead you. What you give your attention to begins to shape your reality. Focus is the silent architect of your future. It builds the path your feet will walk upon. You can pray for purpose, you can dream of greatness, you can desire success, but without focus, all of it will slip through your fingers. Focus, the bridge between intention and manifestation. It's what turns good ideas into tangible results, what transforms potential into power. Without it, you become busy but not productive, moving but not progressing, active but not advancing. When your focus is scattered, your energy is divided. You start chasing everything and catching nothing. Life becomes a maze instead of a mission. Every distraction, every temptation, every unnecessary battle drains the very power you need to reach your destination. You can't expect clarity when your attention is fractured. You can't expect peace when your mind is running in 1,000 directions. Focus is the art of saying no to everything that doesn't align with your purpose. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters most. Focused life doesn't entertain every opportunity. It discerns which ones carry divine direction. Every yes to distraction is a no to destiny. Every time you lose focus, you delay the promise that was waiting for your persistence. People often mistake movement for progress. They think because they're busy, they're growing. But business without focus is chaos wearing productivity's mask. You can be moving all day and still be lost if you're not headed in the right direction. The world will always offer noise, attention traps, endless comparisons, but focus teaches you to keep your eyes on your own lane. Think of an archer aiming at a target. If his eyes waver for even a second, arrow will miss its mark. Life works the same way. Every time you lose sight of your purpose, your aim drifts. The arrow of your effort flies off course. When your eyes are locked on the goal, when your heart is anchored in conviction, when your mind refuses to wander, the arrow finds its target effortlessly and precisely. Focus is not built overnight, it's trained. It's the discipline of the mind to remain still in a world that's constantly moving. It's the quiet commitment to stay the course even when distractions look more appealing than destiny. You don't master focus by removing everything around you. You master it by controlling what's within you. You master it when you stop reacting to everything that doesn't deserve your energy. Your direction in life is always determined by your dominant thoughts. That's why you must guard your mind as if your future depends on it, because it does. Whatever occupies your focus becomes your reality. If you focus on fear, you'll live in limitation. If you focus on faith, you'll live in possibility. If you focus on lack, you'll always feel empty. If you focus on growth, abundance, and purpose, life begins to expand in those very directions. Many people are stuck not because they lack opportunity, but because they lack focus. Opportunity without focus leads to waste. Focus without opportunity leads to preparation. And when preparation meets purpose, doors open that no one can shut. You can't blame the wind for not carrying you forward when your sails are turned in the wrong direction. Focus is how you adjust those sails. It's not about having everything figured out. It's about having one clear direction and moving toward it with conviction. Even a small step taken with focus is greater than 100 steps taken in confusion. Focused heart can accomplish in 1 year what a distracted mind can't do in 10. Because focus amplifies everything: your energy, your time, your creativity, your confidence, your faith. But focus also demands sacrifice. You cannot hold on to everything and expect to move forward. You will have to let go of certain people, certain habits, certain conversations that dilute your drive. You will have to choose solitude over popularity, discipline over comfort, long-term fulfillment over short-term pleasure. Focus requires pruning, cutting away what no longer contributes to your growth. And that's why so few truly master it. Because mastering focus means mastering yourself. It means quieting the noise, silencing the doubts, controlling your own narrative. It means learning to say, I'm not going to be distracted by what's temporary when I'm building something eternal. When you focus, you begin to see patterns that others miss. You begin to recognize timing, alignment, and divine positioning. Suddenly, the detours make sense, the delays have purpose, struggles become training grounds. Focus gives meaning to moments that once felt meaningless. The world will try to pull you in 1,000 directions. There will always be something louder, shinier, or seemingly more urgent than your purpose. But you can't chase everything and expect to arrive anywhere. Focus reminds you that not every invitation deserves your presence. Not every opinion deserves your reaction. Not every opportunity deserves your yes. Focus simplifies life. It brings order to chaos and clarity to confusion. It allows you to hear what really matters, the inner voice that whispers, keep going. It gives you the strength to endure the silent seasons because you know where you're headed even when no one else understands. When you master your focus, you master your future. Because focus doesn't just determine what you see, it determines what you become. You will always move in the direction of your dominant attention. You will always attract what you constantly meditate on. If your eyes are fixed on progress, you will find progress. If your heart is locked on peace, you will find peace. So ask yourself, what are you focused on? Are you feeding your faith or your fears? Are you giving energy to distractions or to destiny? Because every thought is a seed. Every seed grows in the soil of your attention. What you water with focus will eventually bear fruit in your life. Keep your eyes on the vision, even when the path feels uncertain. Keep your focus sharp, even when distractions multiply. Don't let temporary emotions blur your eternal purpose. Remember, storms don't stop ships that stay focused on their destination. They may shake, they may bend, but they keep moving forward. Your direction will always follow your focus. If you focus on becoming better, you will grow. If you focus on gratitude, you will attract more to be grateful for. If you focus on your purpose, life will align itself to help you fulfill it. Focus determines direction, and direction determines destiny. Where you look is where you'll go. So lift your eyes, lock your heart on the goal, and let nothing steal your attention. Because when your focus is fixed, your future is unstoppable. Distractions are not always loud. Sometimes they whisper. They creep into your life quietly, disguised as harmless diversions, small detours, innocent conversations, or quick breaks that turn into wasted hours. Yet behind their quiet appearance, distractions carry one deadly purpose: to steal your destiny. Destiny is not lost in a single moment. It is lost in fragments of stolen focus. Every second you give to something meaningless is a second taken from something eternal. Every time you let your attention drift, you let a thief reach into the vault of your purpose and take what you can never recover: time. Distractions don't always destroy you suddenly. They drain you slowly. They rob you quietly until you wake up one day and realize that what was meant to be built in a year has taken 10, and what was meant to be started never even began. You see, the enemy of destiny doesn't always show up as disaster. Sometimes it shows up as comfort. It shows up as scrolling through endless feeds instead of feeding your faith. It shows up as people who talk much but mean little. It shows up as opportunities that look good but aren't aligned with your calling. Distraction often wears the mask of attraction. It doesn't look like an obstacle, it looks like an option. That's what makes it dangerous. Distractions pull your attention from what's essential and redirect it toward what's urgent but empty. They convince you to chase noise instead of nurturing vision. They make you respond to everything instead of focusing on the one thing that truly matters. Can't walk toward your destiny if your eyes are constantly looking sideways. You can't build anything lasting if your foundation keeps shaking with every new distraction that comes your way. You can have a powerful dream and still waste your potential if you keep letting distractions detour your focus. Purpose doesn't compete for attention, it requires it. You can't hear divine instruction when your life is filled with constant interruption. There is a difference between movement and momentum, between activity and advancement. You can be busy and still be blind to what truly matters. Every great destiny requires discipline. Discipline is the wall that keeps distractions out. Without it, you'll find yourself reacting to every demand, every text, every notification, every opinion. You'll start measuring your value by attention instead of assignment. Distractions feed your ego, but starve your purpose. They make you feel momentarily fulfilled while secretly draining your strength. The truth is, distractions often come right before your breakthrough. The closer you get to your destiny, the louder distractions become. The moment you start growing, something will try to pull you back, not because you're weak, but because you're becoming powerful. The noise increases because your progress threatens everything that wants you to stay the same. That's why you have to learn the sacred art of focus. You must learn to close your ears to certain voices and your eyes to certain views. Not everything that calls for your attention deserves your energy. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to defend your name in every room. You don't have to prove your worth to anyone who doubts your direction. When you are sure of your purpose, you can walk away from anything that doesn't align with it. Distractions often disguise themselves as obligations. They whisper, "It's just for a moment," but that moment stretches into hours, days, and seasons. Before you know it, you've drifted from your calling and can't remember where you left it. That's why awareness is essential. Every time you feel drained, check your distractions. Every time your peace feels distant, check what's pulling your focus. Every time your joy feels heavy, ask yourself what's stealing your time. The people who fulfill destiny are not those who have the most talent. They're the ones who guard their attention. They know that purpose is a full-time pursuit, and you can't walk into greatness while being half present. They understand that destiny demands devotion, undivided, unbroken, unwavering attention to the call that burns inside. Distractions are not just external, they're internal too. Sometimes the loudest distraction is the noise inside your own mind: fear, doubt, overthinking, guilt, comparison. You can't hear divine direction when your mind is replaying insecurity. You can't move forward while constantly checking who's ahead of you. Comparison is one of the most effective distractions. It makes you abandon your lane to chase someone else's path, forgetting that purpose is not a race, but a road, yours and yours alone. When you chase distractions, you delay destiny. Every time you choose temporary satisfaction over long-term fulfillment, you postpone what you were meant to become. The danger is not that distractions make you fall. It's that they make you forget. Forget who you are. Forget what you're building. Forget the reason you started. And when you forget your why, your what loses meaning. You must guard your destiny like treasure, because that's exactly what it is. Not everyone deserves access to your energy, your time, or your attention. Protect your purpose from anything that tries to dilute it. Protect your focus from people who drain it. Protect your spirit from conversations that don't uplift it. Distractions may come, but they don't have to conquer you. Learn to recognize them early. Learn to say no without guilt. Learn to disconnect without apology. Peace is the atmosphere where purpose grows and distractions suffocate peace. Every time you choose stillness over noise, you reclaim a piece of your destiny. Every time you turn down a distraction, you turn up your power. Destiny is a path that demands presence. You can't walk it while constantly looking around. You must look ahead. You must stay anchored in your vision, rooted in your faith, grounded in your calling. Every step counts. Every moment matters. Every distraction resisted brings you closer to the life you were created for. Don't let temporary detours keep you from eternal directions. Don't trade destiny for dopamine. Don't let what's urgent make you forget what's important. You were not called to scatter your attention. You were called to steward it. Focus is your greatest currency, and distractions are the thieves that want to bankrupt your future. If you want to see your life change, start guarding your focus like it's gold, because it is. The moment you stop entertaining distractions, you start accelerating destiny. Every time you resist the pull of noise, you strengthen your spirit. Every time you stay consistent, you move closer to completion. Distractions will always exist, but they only have power if you feed them. Stop feeding what weakens you. Stop watering what doesn't grow you. Choose what matters most, even when it costs you comfort. Because destiny doesn't deliver to the distracted, it delivers to the disciplined. And when you look back one day, you'll see that every no you gave to distraction was a yes to your purpose. Every time you stayed focused when others drifted, you gained ground they never saw. Every moment you chose silence over chaos, direction over detour, purpose over popularity, you were building something eternal. So protect your focus like your future depends on it, because it does. Stay alert, stay centered, stay awake. Your destiny is too valuable to be stolen by distractions that were never worthy of your time. Distractions are destiny thieves, but awareness is the lock and focus is the key. Keep both close, and your purpose will never be stolen again. Silence is not weakness, it is wisdom wrapped in stillness. In a world addicted to noise, silence has become a rare treasure, a quiet power that few truly understand. People mistake silence for absence, when in truth, silence is presence at its highest form. It's the space where you gather your thoughts, anchor your emotions, and realign your spirit with purpose. Silence doesn't mean you have nothing to say. It means you are wise enough to know when speaking adds nothing. There is strength in holding your peace when everything in you wants to react. There is power in staying calm when chaos tries to pull you into confusion. There is grace in listening when the world expects you to shout. Silence is the shield of the mature, the armor of the disciplined, and the sanctuary of the wise. We live in a generation that measures strength by volume. How loud you can talk, how quickly you can respond, how publicly you can prove your point. True power doesn't need to be announced. It reveals itself in quiet confidence. When you've mastered silence, you no longer need to explain your worth, defend your name, or justify your calling. You understand that time will speak for you, results will speak for you, life will testify on your behalf. Silence is strength because it gives you control. Every word you speak has energy, and when you waste that energy on meaningless battles, you deplete the power meant for your purpose. The strongest people are not those who always have the last word. They are the ones who know when to walk away, when to pause, and when to let God fight the battle they cannot. Silence is not the absence of power, it is the mastery of it. Sometimes, silence is the only language that truth needs. There are moments when speaking would only add confusion, when arguing would only invite chaos. Explaining would only cheapen your wisdom. Silence in those moments becomes your declaration of peace. It's your way of saying, I know who I am. I don't need to prove it. There's a kind of strength that comes from restraint. The kind that says, I could respond, but I won't. I could fight, but it's not worth it. I could explain, but understanding isn't owed. That kind of silence is not weakness, it's discipline. It's the kind of strength that comes from self-mastery. It's knowing that peace is too expensive to trade for petty battles. When you choose silence, you protect your focus. You stop wasting energy on noise that doesn't feed your purpose. You start hearing what really matters, your intuition, your wisdom, your divine direction. Noise blurs vision, silence brings clarity. You can't hear guidance when your world is filled with chatter. You can't discern truth when you're surrounded by voices trying to shape your thinking. In silence, your soul speaks. You begin to hear the quiet whisper of direction, that inner voice that says, this is the way, walk in it. You begin to notice that not everything requires your response, and not everyone deserves your reaction. You start to understand that the loudest one in the room is often the weakest, while the calm one is often the most powerful. Silence is where transformation begins. The seed grows in silence beneath the soil. The dawn rises quietly before it breaks the horizon. The most powerful changes in life often happen unseen, unannounced, uncelebrated, in the silent chambers of preparation. Silence is where strength is built, character is formed, and vision is refined. If you look closely at those who have mastered themselves, you'll find they are people who have learned to be still. They don't react to every insult. They don't chase validation. They don't chase validation. They don't explain their every move. They've discovered that the quieter they become, clearer their power becomes. Silence teaches patience. It allows you to observe without judgment, to discern without reacting, to plan without broadcasting. It gives you the space to grow in peace rather than perform under pressure. Silence lets you evolve without interference. Not every season of your life requires announcement. Some seasons require incubation. Some victories are won in private before they ever manifest in public. In silence, you also learn humility. You understand that not every argument needs your voice, and not every opinion deserves your energy. You realize that wisdom is not found in always being right, but in knowing when to let things go. Silence humbles the ego and strengthens the spirit. Teaches you that being still doesn't mean you're stuck. It means you're secure. There are times when silence is your best defense. When people misunderstand you, let silence speak. When rumors rise, let silence reveal the truth. When negativity surrounds you, let silence protect your peace. Time has a way of proving what words cannot. Silence may not satisfy the curious, but it will preserve the wise. Silence also builds resilience, trains you to endure without complaint, to wait without anxiety, and to trust without evidence. The silent seasons of your life are not empty, they are sacred. They are the times when you are being strengthened for what's ahead. You may not hear movement, but something is happening. You may not see results. Growth is taking place. Many people fear silence because it forces them to face themselves. It strips away distractions, reveals insecurities, exposes the truth about what's really inside. But that's where real strength is born, in the quiet confrontation of your own soul. When you sit in silence long enough, you stop fighting yourself and start healing yourself. You begin to understand your worth without needing anyone to confirm it. The most powerful moments in life are not always accompanied by sound. Think about the calm before a storm, the stillness before a great decision, the pause before a miracle. Silence is not emptiness, it's expectancy. It's the space where faith whispers something good is coming. It's the quiet before breakthrough, the calm before manifestation. Don't despise your silent seasons. Don't mistake them for stagnation. Silence is where purpose matures. It's where you learn endurance. It's where you grow stronger, wiser, and more grounded. When life quiets you down, it's often because you're being refined, not forgotten. The silence you're enduring now is strengthening you for the sound of success that's coming later. Sometimes the best way to win is not to respond. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing. Let silence do its work. Let it shape your strength, sharpen your discernment, and deepen your peace. Because when you rise again, your silence will have given birth to wisdom that no storm can shake. The world may not understand your quiet seasons, but destiny does. The noise will tempt you to rush, to react, to prove something, but hold your peace. Strength is not in being seen, it's in being still. Strength is not in arguing, it's in understanding. Strength is not in shouting. It's in knowing that truth needs no defense, so embrace silence. Let it be your sanctuary, your teacher, your strength. Speak when your words carry weight. Be still when your silence carries wisdom, because the one who can master silence can master anything. Silence is not weakness. It's power under control. It's faith in motion. It's peace that passes understanding. And when you finally learn to embrace it, you'll discover a truth few ever realize. Sometimes the most powerful sound in the world is no sound at all. Growth does not always announce itself with noise. It does not always come with applause, visibility, or validation. Growth often happens in silence, in the hidden, quiet seasons when no one sees the work you are doing, no one celebrates the process, when the world moves on as if nothing is happening. But something is happening, something sacred, something powerful. Growth is taking place beneath the surface where eyes cannot see and voices cannot reach. Quiet seasons are the incubators of destiny. They are the sacred spaces where your roots go deep, where your faith is strengthened, and where your character is refined. These are the seasons when God works behind the scenes, rearranging, pruning, and preparing you for what's ahead. They may feel slow, they may feel lonely. They are necessary because every great harvest begins with a hidden seed. When you plant a seed in the soil, nothing seems to happen at first. Days pass, weeks go by, and the ground looks unchanged. But underneath that soil, transformation is taking place. The seed is breaking open, roots are forming, foundations are being established. The process is invisible, but it's vital. Without that unseen stage, there can be no visible growth. That's exactly how life works. Your quiet seasons are the soil of your becoming. Sometimes we become frustrated when nothing seems to move. We pray, we plan, we work, yet the progress looks invisible. But silence doesn't mean stagnation. Hidden doesn't mean forgotten. Quiet doesn't mean empty. The truth is, the quiet seasons are when you grow the most. It's where endurance is built, discipline is strengthened, and wisdom is born. In the quiet, you learn who you are without the noise of applause or opinion. You learn to stand without being seen, to believe without being validated, to move without being noticed. The quiet seasons strip away distractions and teach you to depend on something deeper than approval, your purpose. Growth requires solitude because purpose requires clarity. You cannot hear your calling clearly when you are surrounded by constant noise. The quiet seasons are also where pruning happens. Growth is not only about adding, it's about subtracting. There are things that must fall away before you can flourish: habits, fears, relationships, or mindsets that no longer serve your future. Pruning hurts because it feels like loss, but it's actually preparation. The gardener cuts not to harm the plant, but to help it bear more fruit. In the same way, when life cuts something away, it's not punishment. It's preparation for increase. You may look around and see others flourishing while you're still waiting, still working, still hidden. But remember, comparison is a thief of peace and a distraction from purpose. Every person's season is different. What's blooming for someone else now might be what you're building toward in silence. Don't rush the process. The seed cannot skip the soil. Quiet seasons are also seasons of testing. They test your patience, your perseverance, your faith. They reveal whether you are rooted or merely planted. Because storms will come, and if your roots are shallow, the winds of pressure will tear you apart. But if you have grown deep in silence, if you've learned to stay grounded in faith and focused in solitude, no storm can uproot you. In these seasons, you learn the beauty of stillness. You learn to listen to your intuition, to trust the process, to find peace in the unseen. You realize that silence is not a void, it's a vessel. It's carrying something within you: wisdom, maturity, resilience. These qualities cannot be built in chaos. They are forged in stillness, shaped by time, and strength through patience. It's in the quiet that you learn endurance, the ability to keep going when nothing seems to be working. You learn consistency, the discipline to keep showing up when no one is watching. You learn humility, the grace to be hidden without losing heart. Quiet seasons humble you, not to break you, but to balance you. They prepare you to handle the weight of success when it arrives. Every great person you admire has walked through quiet seasons. Every strong tree you see has endured years of unseen growth underground. The deeper the roots, stronger the tree. The quieter the preparation, the greater the manifestation. The stiller the process, the louder the results. You cannot rush divine timing. Growth takes time, and the quiet season is a teacher of patience. It teaches you that becoming is not about speed, it's about substance. Growth may look impressive, but it rarely lasts. Sustainable growth, the kind that endures through storms, is built slowly, quietly, intentionally. When you embrace the quiet season, you stop resisting what's necessary. You stop questioning your timing and start trusting your transformation. You understand that God does his best work in silence, in hidden spaces, in unseen progress, in the moments no one celebrates. You may not feel like you're moving, but something deep within you is shifting. You're shedding old layers, healing old wounds, learning new strength. Quiet season also gives you perspective. When everything slows down, you begin to see what truly matters. You realize that external noise can distract you from internal growth. You begin to value peace over popularity, purpose over performance, and growth over gratification. You start to understand that not all movement is progress. Sometimes stillness is the greatest movement of all. There will come a time when the silence breaks and the world begins to see what's been forming in the dark. When that moment comes, you'll be ready, not because you were rushing, because you were rooted. You'll be steady, not shaken, wise, not reactive, confident, not loud. Quiet seasons don't just grow what's visible. They grow what's valuable. Don't despise the hidden seasons. Don't resent the quiet. What feels like delay is often development. What feels like isolation is actually incubation. You're not being forgotten. You're being formed. You're not being left behind. You're being lifted within. Growth is not about being seen. It's about becoming strong enough to stand when you finally are. When you come out of your quiet season, you won't just have results. You'll have resilience. You'll have wisdom that no shortcut could give you. You'll have peace that no crowd could offer. You'll have strength that no applause could create. Because what grows in silence lasts longer, stands taller, and shines brighter. So if you find yourself in a quiet season right now, don't fight it. Embrace it. Use it. Learn from it. Sit in the stillness and let it shape you. Every unseen effort, every private prayer, every silent tear is watering the soil of your destiny. The world may not see it yet, but your time is coming. Growth doesn't always make noise. Sometimes it looks like rest. Sometimes it looks like waiting. Sometimes it looks like nothing. Make no mistake, the seed is still alive and the roots are still growing. The quiet season is proof that life is preparing you for something greater. Because real growth, lasting growth, always happens in silence before it shows up in sight. And when your time comes, you won't have to explain what you went through. Your fruit will speak for you. Your results will testify. Your peace will prove it. One of the greatest prisons a person can live in is the prison of people's opinions. It is a cage without bars, trap without walls, and yet it holds countless souls hostage. It keeps them performing instead of progressing, pretending instead of becoming, chasing applause instead of walking in authenticity. But the truth is this: you were never created to be validated by people. You were created to be confirmed by purpose. Validation feels good, doesn't it? The compliments, the likes, the nods of approval, they give a momentary sense of worth. But that worth fades as quickly as it arrives, and you find yourself craving it again. Becomes a cycle, a quiet addiction that slowly steals your peace. The more you chase validation, the more you lose your voice. The more you seek approval, the more you lose your direction. Because the moment your worth depends on who applauds you, you've handed them the power to define you. Stop seeking validation. Stop waiting for people to notice what God already confirmed in silence. You don't need their applause to walk in your assignment. You don't need their approval to believe in your dream. You don't need their understanding to fulfill your destiny. You were enough before they agreed, and you'll still be enough if they never do. The truth is, many people won't understand your vision because it wasn't given to them. They'll criticize what they can't comprehend and question what they can't see. That's not a reflection of your worth. That's a reflection of their limitation. Don't shrink your light to fit into their comfort zone. Don't dim your glow to make them feel less insecure. You weren't called to be understood. You were called to be effective. Validation seeking is dangerous because it shifts your focus from purpose to performance. You start making choices to be like, not to be right. You start changing your message to please the crowd instead of honoring your calling. And little by little, you lose yourself trying to become what everyone else approves of. You become a copy of their expectations instead of the original design of your destiny. You must understand this. People's approval is temporary, but your purpose is eternal. What they applaud today, they may criticize tomorrow. The same crowd that cheers for you on your way up will sometimes turn silent when you start rising higher. If your confidence depends on their clapping, you'll crumble the moment they stop. But when your confidence is built on conviction, no amount of silence can shake you. Stop needing people to validate what you already know is true about you. Some people will never celebrate you because your confidence exposes their insecurity. Some will never affirm you because your progress reminds them of their stagnation. Some will never understand you because your calling is too unique to be compared. That's okay. You don't need them to. You must reach a place where peace becomes your approval, where the quiet confirmation within your soul is louder than the applause of the crowd, where you understand that your worth is not measured by your visibility, but by your value. The world may not see you yet, but heaven already knows your name. When you stop seeking validation, you start walking in freedom. You stop over-explaining, overthinking, and overcompensating. You stop waiting for permission to move forward. You stop trying to convince people who are not meant to understand your assignment. You begin to move with confidence, not arrogance, because confidence rooted in purpose doesn't need to boast. It just is. Validation is a trap that steals your authenticity. When you're addicted to approval, you start editing yourself to please others. You speak less boldly, dream less freely, and live less fully. But the world doesn't need another watered-down version of you. It needs the real you, raw, imperfect, passionate, fully aligned with who you were meant to be. You have to make peace with being misunderstood. You have to become comfortable walking alone. Growth requires solitude, and purpose requires independence from approval. The moment you stop seeking validation, you start attracting authenticity. The right people, the ones meant to walk with you, will recognize your worth without needing you to prove it. You don't need to prove your greatness. Yeah, and shouldn't care enough. You need to become it. You don't need to convince people of your calling. You need to live it. You don't need to explain your journey. You need to walk it. Your purpose is not a performance. It's a process, one that requires courage, conviction, and quiet confidence. You see validation is noisy. Confidence is silent. Validation screams for attention. Confidence walks in assurance. Validation says, notice me. Confidence says, already know who I am. Validation seeks external confirmation. Confidence is anchored in internal certainty. You don't need anyone to tell you you're valuable. You need to believe it yourself. When you stop seeking validation, you stop living for applause and start living for alignment. You begin to value purpose over popularity. You learn that rejection is often protection, That when people don't validate you, it's because you're not meant to fit their mold. Some doors close not because you're unworthy, but because you're being redirected towards something greater. The people who once overlooked you will one day have to watch what you built without their approval. The same voices that doubted you will eventually have to acknowledge what your faith produced. But by then, you won't need their validation because you'll have outgrown the need for it. True confidence is quiet. It doesn't need attention to feel valuable. It doesn't need applause to feel effective. It doesn't chase validation, it creates impact. When you walk in authenticity, you give others permission to do the same. You become a mirror of freedom, proof that you can be powerful without being perfect, bold without being boastful, seen without being self-centered. Stop trying to earn what was already given. You are worthy. You are enough. You are chosen. You are capable. These truths don't need to be confirmed by people. They were already written into your creation. The more you realize that, the freer you become. When you no longer need validation, you start valuing peace over praise. You stop explaining your boundaries. You stop apologizing for your standards. You stop lowering your volume just to make others comfortable. You stop begging to be understood and start standing in understanding. You begin to trust yourself again, your instincts, your decisions, your direction. You begin to make moves from conviction instead of insecurity. You begin to walk with a quiet confidence that doesn't need to prove, it simply performs. Because validation-driven people seek attention. Purpose-driven people seek transformation. One day you'll realize that the applause you were waiting for was never necessary. The people you tried to impress were never your audience. The approval you were chasing was already inside you, buried under layers of doubt and fear. Once you silence the need for validation, you'll hear the truth that was there all along. You are already enough. So stop seeking validation. Stop explaining what doesn't need explanation. Stop waiting for recognition to begin your mission. You are already equipped, already chosen, already worthy. Let your peace validate you. Let your purpose affirm you. Let your results speak for you. Because when you stop seeking validation, you start living in freedom. You start shining without asking for permission. You start moving without waiting for a nod. You realize that the only approval you ever needed was your own. There is a sacred power in stillness, a quiet, invisible strength that most people overlook because they are too busy running, rushing, reacting, and reaching. The world moves fast, and everything around us teaches us that motion means progress. But the truth is, sometimes motion is just noise. Sometimes we are so caught up in doing that we forget how to be. Sometimes we are so focused on moving that we lose sight of where we're going. Stillness is not inactivity, it is intentional peace. It is the deliberate decision to pause, to breathe, to listen, not to the world, but to your soul. It is the place where clarity is born. When the waters of life are stirred, you can't see your reflection. But when the waters settle, when the chaos quiets, the truth becomes visible. Clarity doesn't come through constant motion, it comes through stillness. You cannot hear wisdom in the noise. You cannot see direction through distraction. You cannot understand purpose while you're constantly reacting to the world. Stillness is the sacred pause between confusion and revelation. It's the moment when your spirit finally catches up to your body, when your heart and mind align, when you realize that sometimes the best move is no move at all. Stillness is not laziness, it's leadership. It's the mark of someone who is mature enough to know that rest is part of growth and reflection is part of power. The world glorifies hustle, but wisdom glorifies stillness. Because when you stop running, you start realizing. When you stop fighting the noise, you start hearing direction. When you stop forcing outcomes, you start seeing alignment. When the storm rages, you can't navigate by looking at the waves. You have to be still long enough to find the stars again. When life feels chaotic, you don't find clarity by doing more. You find it by being still enough to hear what the moment is trying to teach you. Stillness allows the fog of confusion to lift, revealing what has been hidden beneath your anxiety and fear. Many people mistake noise for purpose. They think if they're always busy, they must be progressing. But busyness without direction is chaos in disguise. You can be active and unproductive at the same time. You can be moving, but in circles. That's why stillness is necessary, because it gives you the chance to realign. It helps you see whether you're truly advancing or just exhausting yourself. In stillness, your priorities become clearer. You begin to see what really matters and what doesn't. You start to recognize which relationships drain your peace and which ones nourish your soul. You discern which opportunities align with your calling and which ones are distractions in disguise. Stillness gives you spiritual X-ray vision. It lets you see beneath the surface. But let's be honest, being still isn't easy. It's uncomfortable because silence reveals what noise hides. When you're still, you start hearing the thoughts you've been avoiding, the emotions you've been suppressing, the truths you've been ignoring. That's why so many people drown their silence with sound. They keep scrolling, talking, posting, and moving because they're afraid of what they might find if they stop. Yet, that's exactly where healing begins, in stillness. That's where you confront what you've been running from. That's where you find the clarity to release what no longer serves you. That's where you discover that peace isn't something you chase, it's something you uncover once you quiet the chaos. Stillness teaches you to trust, because when you're still, you're not in control. You're surrendering. You're saying, I don't need to fix everything right now. I don't need to know every answer. I don't need to rush what's meant for me. In that surrender, clarity emerges. The noise of fear begins to fade, and the voice of wisdom grows louder. Some of the greatest revelations in life come not when you're striving, but when you're still. That's why moments of solitude are sacred. They are not wasted time, they are refining time. The caterpillar doesn't transform while it's running, it transforms in stillness. The seed doesn't grow while it's in motion, it takes root in stillness. Even the ocean, vast and mighty, reflects the heavens only when it is calm. You must protect your stillness like treasure, because it's where your strength regenerates, your vision resets, and your energy recharges. It's where your mind stops reacting and starts creating. In a world that glorifies constant motion, being still is revolutionary. It's choosing peace over pressure, clarity over chaos, purpose over popularity. Sometimes the reason you can't hear your next step is because you're too loud in your own life. You're overthinking, overworking, over-explaining. You're busy chasing answers when the answers are already waiting in the silence. The moment you stop trying to force the outcome, clarity begins to flow. The right people, the right ideas, the right timing. They all find you when you're not trying to control everything. Stillness doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing what matters. It's strategic calmness. It's the understanding that your peace is a weapon, not a weakness. The more still you become, powerful your presence becomes. You begin to operate from a deeper knowing, not from fear or anxiety, but from confidence and calm. There's a strength that rises in silence that no amount of noise can produce. When you can stand still in the middle of uncertainty, that's power. When you can hold your peace when others panic, that's maturity. When you can wait without complaining, trust without demanding, believe without proof, that's when clarity becomes your companion. Stillness reveals what effort can't. It shows you who's really for you, what's truly working, and where you're meant to go next. It clears the emotional fog, removes the mental clutter, and brings your priorities into focus. It allows you to make decisions from wisdom, not from worry. Every breakthrough begins in stillness. The most powerful people are not the loudest. They are the most centered. They know how to pause, reflect, and move with precision. They don't chase clarity. They create space for it. They understand that direction comes to those who wait, that peace produces vision, and that vision produces progress. Stillness is not the absence of movement. It's the presence of meaning. It's the space between your effort and your answer. It's the moment before the breakthrough, the breath before the revelation, the quiet before the dawn. Don't fear it, embrace it. Because when you are still, life begins to speak. You start to hear divine whispers guiding you where to go. You start to feel the peace that passes understanding. You start to see that the clarity you were chasing was waiting for you all along on the other side of your stillness. So stop rushing. Stop forcing. Stop trying to make everything happen right now. Learn to rest in what's unfolding. The answers you seek are not found in chaos, they are revealed in calm. Direction you're searching for isn't in the noise, it's in the stillness. The world tells you to hustle harder, but wisdom tells you to be still and listen. Because stillness doesn't slow you down, it sets you straight. It doesn't delay your destiny, it defines it. When you embrace stillness, you begin to see clearly. And when you see clearly, you move powerfully. So take a breath, be still. Let the dust of confusion settle. Let peace do what pressure never could. Because in that stillness, that quiet, sacred space, you'll find clarity waiting patiently for you to listen. And once you see clearly, there will be no doubt about where you're meant to go next. There are seasons in life when it feels like nothing is happening. You're working hard, staying disciplined, showing up every day, and yet it seems like no one notices. The doors you've been knocking on remain closed. The opportunities you've been praying for seem distant, and the progress you've made looks invisible. But what you don't realize is this: your preparation is hidden because your purpose is sacred. Greatness is never built in the spotlight, it's forged in the shadows. The most powerful seasons of your life are often the quiet ones, the ones where nobody claps, nobody sees, and nobody understands. It's in those unseen places that your character is shaped, your endurance is tested, and your faith is strengthened. The world may not see your progress, heaven does. And what's being built in private will one day be revealed in power. We live in a generation obsessed with visibility. Everyone wants to be seen, heard, and celebrated. But visibility without preparation is dangerous. Because what good is a platform if you have no foundation? What good is attention if you lack depth? What good is opportunity if you don't have the wisdom to sustain it? That's why your preparation must come before your presentation. The spotlight can destroy what hasn't been developed in the shadows. When it feels like life has slowed down, when you feel overlooked or forgotten, that's not a punishment. That's protection. You are being prepared for something greater than what you can see right now. The hidden season is not meant to hurt you, it's meant to hone you. It's where God refines your gifts, reshapes your mindset, and strengthens your spirit. Think about a seed. Once it's planted, it disappears beneath the soil. You can't see it. It's hidden in darkness. But beneath that dirt, it's growing roots. It's developing strength. It's building the foundation it needs to rise. And when the time is right, it breaks through the surface. Not by accident, but because it was prepared. That's you. You're underground right now, but growth is happening even when you can't see it. Your hidden season is not wasted time, it's preparation time. Every struggle, every lesson, every delay is part of your development. You're learning patience, humility, consistency, and wisdom. You're being trained for the weight of the blessing you've been asking for. Because what's coming is heavy, and if you're not ready, crush you instead of crown you. The world celebrates the harvest, but heaven celebrates the roots. The visible success that people admire is always supported by invisible preparation. Nobody sees the hours you spent learning, the nights you stayed up dreaming, the tears you cried in silence, or the battles you fought alone. But those unseen moments are the very foundation of your strength. They are proof that you can endure before you emerge. You must learn to honor your hidden seasons instead of rushing through them. Don't despise the slow process. Don't get frustrated when no one recognizes your effort. You are not behind, you are being built. Every champion has a chapter that nobody reads. Every masterpiece spends time unfinished. Every promise goes through a process. When life hides you, it's not rejection. It's refinement. You're not being ignored. You're being incubated. You're in a sacred space where greatness is forming quietly. Preparation is never wasted, even when it's invisible. The lessons you're learning in this season are equipping you for the opportunities waiting in the next one. Sometimes God hides you because He's protecting what's precious. You may think you're ready for exposure. Exposure too early can destroy what's not mature enough to handle it. The cocoon may feel confining, but it's necessary for transformation. You can't rush the butterfly's wings. They must strengthen in the dark before they can fly in the light. So if you feel unseen right now, don't despair. You are in divine preparation. You are being sharpened, refined, and elevated behind the scenes. You are being molded into the person who can carry what's coming. Every quiet moment, every delay, every disappointment is part of your development. You're not being buried, you're being planted. And when the time comes, you will rise with purpose, strength, and clarity. There's a reason your preparation is hidden, because not everyone is meant to witness your process. Some people can't handle your becoming. Some would criticize your growth before it's complete. Some would misunderstand your journey and label your silence as stagnation. That's okay. You're not called to prove anything. Your results will speak for you when the time is right. You don't need to announce every move. You don't need to defend your silence. You don't need to explain your season. Let your work develop in secret. Let your faith grow in quiet. Let your preparation continue unseen, because what's being built in private will one day shine in public. And when it does, the same people who overlooked you will have no choice but to recognize what preparation produced. This hidden season is your classroom. It's where you learn the lessons that success won't teach you. It's where you discover who you are without the applause. It's where your motives are purified and your resilience is tested. It's where you learn to depend on faith instead of approval. It's where you grow strong enough to carry the weight of your calling without losing yourself. Preparation is often lonely, but it's never empty. It's in the silence that creativity is birthed. It's in the stillness that ideas are born. It's in the waiting that maturity forms. You're not stuck. You're being stretched. You're not forgotten. You're being fashioned. You're not overlooked. You're being overhauled. When the time comes for you to step into visibility, you won't have to force it. The door will open naturally because you'll be ready. You won't have to chase opportunities. They'll recognize the readiness in you. You won't have to convince people of your worth. Your preparation will speak louder than your words ever could. So be patient with the process. Don't rush what's still ripening. Don't compare your journey to others who seem to be ahead. They may be visible now, but your preparation is building longevity. Fast success fades quickly. Developed strength endures. You're not waiting. You're working in silence. You're not idle. You're incubating greatness. Every hidden season ends with revelation. Every dark place eventually gives birth to light. When your time comes, the fruit of your faith will be undeniable. The roots you built in silence will sustain you in the storm. The lessons you learned alone will empower you in the crowd. The preparation that was hidden will become the foundation for everything that follows. You are being readied for something beyond imagination. Your preparation is hidden, but not forgotten. Your season of silence is divine strategy, not delay. So keep showing up, keep learning, keep building. Keep believing, because the same God who hides you for a season will reveal you in his perfect time. And when that moment comes, when everything you've been preparing for finally unfolds, you'll understand why it had to be hidden. You'll realize that what felt like isolation was actually insulation. What felt like delay was actually design. What felt like silence was the sound of destiny being written. Your preparation is hidden because your purpose is holy. And when the world finally sees you, they won't just see your success. They'll see the strength, the wisdom, and the depth that could only have been built in the shadows. Life is not moved by desire alone. It is moved by discipline. Everyone wants success, but few are willing to do what success demands. Everyone dreams of greatness, but only a handful stay consistent long enough to reach it. Talent can open a door, but only discipline keeps you in the room. Desire may inspire you to start, but discipline ensures you finish. Because at the end of the day, life doesn't reward those who wish, it rewards those who work. Discipline is not glamorous. It doesn't shine under lights or make noise on social media. It's quiet, repetitive, and often unnoticed. It lives in the early mornings and late nights. It thrives in the choices you make when no one is watching. The moments when you could take the easy route, but you choose the right one instead. Discipline is the invisible muscle behind every visible victory. It's the habit that builds heroes, the grit that separates dreamers from doers, structure that turns potential into power. The truth is, life doesn't care about your intentions. It responds to your consistency. You can have all the passion in the world, but if you lack discipline, your potential will rot in procrastination. Passion fuels you for a moment, but discipline carries you for a lifetime. Passion is emotional, discipline is strategic. Passion wants the reward, discipline builds the capacity to handle it. Every great person you admire, every success story you celebrate, every leader who inspires you, they all have one thing in common: discipline. They made choices that didn't always feel good, but they knew it would lead to something greater. They sacrificed comfort for commitment. They said no to distractions so they could say yes to destiny. They understood that discipline is not punishment, it's preparation. Discipline is doing what's necessary even when you don't feel like it. It's waking up to train when you'd rather sleep. It's staying focused when the world is trying to pull you in 100 directions. It's showing up on days when motivation is gone. Because motivation fades, discipline stays. Discipline doesn't ask for your feelings, it demands your follow through. And here's the truth: the reward always comes. It might not come when you want it, but it will come when you're ready for it. Life watches how you handle the small things before it trusts you with the big ones. It watches how consistent you are in private before it blesses you in public. It watches how you manage discipline when no one's clapping, no one's watching, and no one's cheering. Because discipline proves your readiness. Without discipline, even blessings can become burdens. Opportunities can slip through your hands because you weren't prepared to handle them. Success can crumble because you didn't have the structure to sustain it. That's why discipline is not optional, it's essential. It's the foundation that holds everything else together. It's what turns an ordinary life into an extraordinary one. Think of discipline as a seed. You plant it through daily actions, small decisions, and quiet sacrifices. Over time, it grows into a tree of stability, consistency, and strength. Every repetition, every effort, every moment of saying no to what distracts you and yes to what develops you, it all compounds. The growth is slow. The results are unstoppable. Discipline multiplies your value. The beauty of discipline is that it transforms you long before it rewards you. It builds habits that shape your identity. It sharpens your focus. It strengthens your will. You begin to trust yourself more because you've proven that you can keep promises to yourself. That's the true reward, not just success, but self-respect. When you live with discipline, you don't just achieve goals, you become the kind of person who's unstoppable. There will be days when you want to quit, days when you feel like nothing's working, days when you question whether the sacrifice is worth it. But those are the days discipline matters most, because consistency in difficulty is what creates destiny. The people who reach the top aren't the ones who never struggled, they're the ones who didn't stop. Life rewards the ones who keep showing up. It rewards the ones who plant when others are sleeping, who build when others are talking, who stay focused when others are distracted. Every act of discipline is a deposit into your future. Every time you choose focus over comfort, you're investing in the life you want to live. And those investments compound until the day life delivers what you've been working toward. The undisciplined chase instant gratification. They want the prize without the process. But discipline teaches patience. It reminds you that the process is the price of greatness. You can't shortcut your way to success and expect it to last. Easy paths build fragile people. Disciplined paths build fortified ones. The more you master discipline, the less you rely on luck. Because success built on discipline doesn't disappear, it endures. Discipline doesn't just change your results, it changes your character. It breaks cycles of mediocrity. It silences excuses. It gives you the power to rise above your circumstances. You stop waiting for ideal conditions and start creating them. You stop wishing for better days and start building them. You stop being reactive and start being intentional. Life rewards discipline because discipline aligns you with principles that never fail. When you're disciplined, you become consistent, and consistency produces momentum. Momentum produces growth, and growth produces success. That's the chain reaction of discipline. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Every small, repeated act builds something stronger inside you. A mindset, a work ethic, a standard that refuses to settle. There's a reason why disciplined people stand out, because they've trained their minds to serve their goals, not their impulses. They've learned to say no to what's easy and yes to what's necessary. They don't wait for the right mood. They create the right mindset. They don't let circumstances dictate their commitment. Their discipline dictates their destiny. If you want life to reward you, give it something worth rewarding. Give it consistency. Give it faithfulness. Give it focus. Give it effort, even on the days it hurts, because life doesn't respond to intentions. It responds to execution. Blessings you're praying for are waiting on the discipline you've been avoiding. And here's the miracle of it all. Once discipline becomes a part of you, it no longer feels like sacrifice. It feels like strength. You begin to crave structure because you've tasted its fruit. You start to love the process because it produces power. You start to value effort because you've seen its effect. Discipline stops being something you have to do. It becomes who you are. The truth is, discipline is freedom disguised as restriction. It may feel limiting at first, but it actually liberates you. It frees you from chaos, confusion, and inconsistency. It frees you from living by feelings and teaches you to live by focus. The disciplined person doesn't need external control. They have internal order. That internal order creates external success. So if you want your life to rise, build your discipline, train your habits, guard your focus. Stay consistent even when it's quiet, even when it's hard, even when it seems like nothing is changing. Because while others are distracted by noise, you'll be preparing for opportunity. One day life will look at your commitment, your persistence, your consistency, and it will reward you. Doors you've been knocking on will open. The prayers you've been whispering will manifest. The results you've been dreaming of will appear. Won't be because you were lucky. It will be because you were disciplined. Discipline is the difference between wishing and winning. It's the bridge between goals and greatness. It's the secret ingredient behind every success story. So keep showing up. Keep doing the work. Keep mastering your habits, because when you walk in discipline, you're walking toward destiny. And in time, life itself will rise up and reward you for it. There comes a point in your journey when you must stop explaining yourself and start expressing yourself through your results. You don't have to argue with doubters, defend your dreams, or justify your efforts. The most powerful statement you can ever make is success itself. Results have a voice that no critic can silence. They speak in clarity where words fall short. They speak in strength where explanations fail. They speak in truth, in evidence, in undeniable proof that you were serious when others thought you were just talking. Letting your results speak means learning the art of quiet progress. It means withdrawing your energy from endless explanations and redirecting it toward relentless execution. Because the world doesn't remember the ones who made the loudest promises. It remembers the ones who made the greatest impact. Talk may travel faster, results last longer. You can post, you can shout, you can prove your point. But at the end of the day, it's the fruit of your labor that tells your story. People often spend more time trying to convince others of their worth than actually working on their growth. They argue about their potential, defend their goals, and get distracted trying to prove they're right. You don't need validation when your results can testify for you. You don't need applause when your consistency produces outcomes. Because the truth is, results you create in silence will make more noise than any words ever could. When you focus on your results, you move differently. You stop wasting energy explaining your vision to people who aren't meant to see it. You stop performing for approval and start producing from purpose. You stop chasing recognition and start chasing refinement. Every moment you spend talking about what you'll do is a moment you could be doing it. Results are born from action, not attention. There's a special kind of peace that comes when you stop trying to prove yourself. You begin to realize that greatness doesn't announce itself. It reveals itself. Real progress doesn't need a spotlight. It shines naturally. When you're busy becoming, you don't have time to broadcast becoming. When you're building quietly, You're too focused to be distracted by noise. The loudest people are often the least productive. They need noise to feel noticed. Those who are truly walking in purpose understand that silence is a strategy. They understand that their energy is sacred. They choose progress over popularity, work over words, execution over exhibition. They understand that while everyone else is trying to be seen, they are trying to be effective. And when you're effective, visibility follows automatically. Results command respect. You don't have to demand it. You don't have to beg for opportunities when your work speaks for itself. You don't have to chase attention when your consistency attracts it. Life has a way of rewarding those who stay faithful to the process. While others are talking about potential, you're living in proof. Others are busy explaining, you're busy expanding. And one day, when your results stand tall, even those who doubted you will have no choice but to acknowledge what you've built. Letting your results speak doesn't mean you stay silent out of fear. It means you stay silent out of focus. It means you choose patience over proving. It means you trust that what's being formed in the dark will shine in the light when the time is right. You understand that everything doesn't need to be announced. Some things need to be developed. And when they're ready, your results will do all the talking for you. You don't have to explain why you're working late when everyone else is relaxing. You don't have to explain why you've distanced yourself from distractions. You don't have to explain why you've been quiet, why you've been grinding, why you've been missing. People may not understand it now, but they will when your results appear. Every silent season is a setup for a loud revelation. Every hidden moment is preparation for a visible transformation. Your results are the reflection of your discipline, your focus, and your faithfulness. They are the evidence of your consistency. They carry your fingerprints, your effort, your pain, your patience, your persistence. Every milestone, every victory, every breakthrough whispers the same message. You didn't just talk about it, you became it. You don't need to respond to every critic, every skeptic, or every rumor. You don't have to defend what you're building to those who don't believe in it. Time will tell the truth. Success will settle the argument. The same people who questioned your silence will one day be quoting your strategy. That's the beauty of results. They speak a language everyone understands. Results are louder than rumors, stronger than doubt, more powerful than explanation. You can't debate evidence. You can't argue with fruit. When something works, it speaks for itself. So instead of trying to convince the world you're capable, commit to becoming capable. Instead of trying to show off your progress, show up for your purpose. The world will see soon enough. There's a quiet confidence that lives in those who know their work will speak. They're not rushing to prove a point because they understand that the truth of their effort will reveal itself. They move with calm assurance, knowing that what's being built behind closed doors will echo across open spaces. They don't announce every step. They let every step count. When you let your results speak, you elevate your energy. You stop lowering yourself into petty conversations. You stop feeding insecurity with explanations. You stop trying to force belief from those who don't matter. Because belief is earned through demonstration. You can't make people see what's invisible. You can only show them once it manifests. So keep building. Keep showing up. Keep doing the work even when no one notices. Because the day will come when your results will speak volumes. Results don't just speak to others, they speak to you. They remind you that your effort was not in vain. They remind you that your sacrifice had a purpose. They remind you that all the times you kept going, all the times you chose focus over comfort, all the times you worked when you could have quit, they all mattered. Your results are proof that persistence pays off. Letting your results speak is also about maturity. It means you've reached a place where you no longer need recognition to feel worthy. You no longer need applause to feel valuable. You're driven by purpose, not praise. You're guided by conviction, not comparison. You've learned to be so focused on your own growth that external noise doesn't even register anymore. In a world obsessed with appearances, silence is power. When you let your results speak, you're choosing substance over show. You're choosing to be rooted, not just visible. You're choosing to invest in growth that lasts rather than noise that fades. Because results don't fade, they remain. They build reputation, influence, trust. They make people take notice without you saying a single word. So keep your head down, Ann, and your faith up. Keep building even when it's slow. Keep believing even when it's quiet. Keep doing the work even when no one applauds. Because the day will come when your results will speak in a tone that commands attention. They will testify on your behalf. They will tell the story of your resilience, your consistency, your strength. When your results finally speak, they'll say everything you've been holding inside. They'll say you were focused when others were distracted. They'll say you were consistent when others were careless. They'll say you were patient when others were impulsive. And most of all, they'll say you didn't give up when it was hard.